Alright, I got a big one for you guys today. I have teamed up with two really awesome companies to give away this entire knife case right here. Not only the case though, but an entire knife collection to go inside of it. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things, and this giveaway is going to be absolutely huge. There's a good chance that if you're watching my channel that you're already into pocket knives and you may already have a knife collection going, but this one is for absolutely everyone. If you're like me and you already have a decent knife collection going, then this thing is going to be right up your alley. If you only own a few pocket knives and you wouldn't even consider it a collection, then if you win this giveaway, you're going to have quite the collection and this beautiful case to store everything in. So I have teamed up with two different companies, Holme Hadfield as well as Benchmade Knives, and we put together this giveaway of a completely packed Armada case filled with not just 9 knives that you see on the top here, but we got a drawer with more here, and then another drawer underneath. We're giving away 18 total Benchmade knives that are brand new from some of their newest lines, and this amazing case to keep everything in. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about in this video, quite a few knives that I have never covered here on my channel before. So I'm just going to kind of run through everything that is going to be included in this giveaway, and then at the end of the video I will give you details on how you can actually enter to win this exact setup right here. This is absolutely insane in my opinion. So first and foremost, let's talk about Holme Hadfield a little bit and all of these cases that they make. This is actually the second case of theirs that I own, and the first one I've been using for, I would say, the past couple of months, ever since I started kind of getting into watches. I brought you guys a watch video and I thought, hey, maybe I need something to display this mini collection that I have going on. So on my nightstand for the past couple of months, I have their Legacy sitting there with all of my watches in it. It's very similar to the knife case involved in this giveaway, but instead of pocket knives, I of course have a ton of watches, and then I also use the drawers to keep all of my EDC gear in there. It is a very large case, and honestly, I don't even have the watch collection to fill that thing up, but I'm staying hopeful. I think over the years, I can actually add some stuff to that case and fill it up a little bit more. But if you are someone who likes to be very minimal and very simplistic, then you can also opt for a smaller case of both their watch cases and the knife cases as well. Now this guy right here is the biggest, baddest case they make. This is known as the Armada, and it holds 9 knives up top, about 18 in this bottom drawer here, which is all divided off, and then I would say another maybe 9 over here in this longer section where I have some longer blades that don't fit anywhere else in the case. And then you have a big dump tray over here. I think you could probably fit like over 50 knives in this case if you don't mind double stacking them and kind of using the max potential of this space. That being said, Holme Hadfield makes this case, and they do advertise saying that you can fit 9 knives up top and then about 30 to 40 in the drawers. I personally think you could fit more, and I'm going to put that to the test by the end of this video. So if you're like me and you've spent a lot of money on pocket knives over the years, and there's a good chance you probably want to show them off. You want to have kind of like a daily rotation here, so in the morning you can wake up, open up this acrylic top, and pick out whichever blade you want to carry for the day. The Armada is offered in 2 different colorways. They have a walnut version and then this black version that you see right here. You'll notice the pillars on top to store your 9 favorite knives, the ones that you actually want to display, and then there's little leather inserts on the bottom there to just kind of clean up the look and keep things a little bit more protected at the same time. If we look at these drawers again, you will notice that they are felt lined, which is good for both the watch case and the knife case. That way you're not going to scratch your investments when you have them inside of here. They do include a little cleaning cloth too, so you can keep the acrylic clean, keep your grubby fingerprints off of there. And this is really like the Rolls Royce of knife cases. I haven't seen anything quite as put together as a setup like this, and it just looks so good, whether it's sitting on your nightstand, on a dresser, or just kind of sitting back on a shelf being shown off in your office. These drawers sort of have a half stop here, so you can pull it out and it will come to a stop, and then you can go all the way to get access deeper back into that drawer. It's just really, really well built. And also it's not gonna break the bank. I thought this thing would cost way more than it actually does, but right now it's currently on sale at the time of filming this video for just $320, which is kind of crazy. I'll leave some links in the description down below if you guys want to check out more information about this case. But now let's talk about the knives that are coming in this case. I've got 18 blades here from Benchmade, some that Benchmade picked out and others that I felt would be a good start to having a knife collection. Basically just some of my favorite Benchmade blades over the years, and we're going to run through these, I'd say pretty quickly because there's a lot to talk about here, but we will stop and spend a little bit more time on the ones that really pique my interest, some of the new ones. So first up, I'm gonna grab the one off of the felt-lined pillar here from the Armada, and this one is one that I've talked about in the past, but this one is speaking to me a little bit more just because of the fit and finish of it. You guys are already probably very familiar with the Benchmade 940 Osborne. This is the 940 BK-03. It's a reverse tanto blade. It has aluminum handle scales and they are coated in this almost like copperish color. I really like the contrast between the darker finish on this blade, and the 940 has an absolute cult following. I actually only have one Osborne in my entire collection, and that one to me is a little bit special because of the handle materials, but this right here is going to be one of the first knives in the giveaway. Now the next one on here I do want to spend a little bit more time on because this is a brand new blade out of Benchmade's line, and this is my first time that I've actually had it in my hand. No pocket time on any of these. They are all completely brand new, including this one right here, the new Benchmade PSK. Now right off the bat, the PSK already feels like a crazy workhorse of a knife. It has a longer handle to blade ratio, which I'm personally kind of a fan of in this situation. There's some milled recessed pockets on the blade there, and this thing is of course Magna Cut. The top of the handles closest to the blade is actually made out of a carbon fiber material, and then G10 underneath that. There's a red thumb stud on there, a really nice deep carry pocket clip, and this thing is also assisted, so it does have a lock on the back of the spine, so you're not going to be able to accidentally open this thing in your pocket. If you take that lock off and give it a little flick of the thumb, it comes out really nicely. This thing feels great. I might have to pick one of these up and actually carry it myself. The next one on the list is really switching things up. I do not have anything like this in my personal collection, and this is the Benchmade Mini Crooked River. So this one's really for all of you outdoorsmen and possibly hunters out there. This is an S30V blade on here. It has wooden handles and it's very reminiscent of a hunting knife, something that I would have had some experience with my first time touching pocket knives as a child. I grew up in the mountains of Pennsylvania in a family full of big hunters, and it's currently hunting season, so this thing kind of falls right in line with everything that we're talking about right now. It's a very classic shaped knife with a clip point blade on there, and there are orange accents on this, which I actually like. As you guys know, I'm a big sucker for orange, so there's an orange backspacer on there, and then the ring around the pivot is also some kind of anodized orange. Axis lock on there, so great action and feel of this blade. It's brand new and I can still just kind of flick it out. Now the Mini Crooked River may not be everyone's first choice. It's not mine because it hasn't been in my collection, but we decided to put together a well-rounded knife collection. So we have a little bit of everything in here for the knife enthusiast. Next up, we have a different version of another knife that I've talked about in the past, the 710. This thing was brought back as a limited run. This thing comes with an S90V blade on there and what seems to be some kind of like raw aluminum. There's a really intricate pattern designed into each side of the scales. The axis lock has a sort of ramped grip on there, so it makes getting access to the blade very easy. This is a fairly large knife and it's definitely one that you would probably want to show off, so that's why I have this one currently positioned in the top of the Armada case. Now next up is one of my personal picks. I have loved this knife for a while. Looks very similar to a Bugout, but this one is actually a Bailout and it's a newer version. The Bailout that you have seen on my channel a few times in the past had grivery scales on it, and this is a newer version, the 537GY-03, so it's a tanto point on there and it has aluminum handles on here. So a knife that previously may have shied people away for being too flimsy and slim. I don't know why you wouldn't like something that's slim in your pocket, but this thing feels extra stout. Has a really small deep carry pocket clip on the back there, as well as a glass breaker. Coming from their black line, this is definitely a knife that I believe should be in a lot of people's collections, and that's an M4 steel blade on there. There's something about these smaller knives like the Bailout and the Bugout with heavier material on the handles instead of grivery. That aluminum just makes this thing feel even extra premium. Now speaking of extra premium, we're going down to these two blades here, which I have the most experience with probably, out of any knife here. These have been in my pocket off and on for a while now. These two happen to be brand new, but I have some in my own collection, and these right here are the Narrows. You probably heard me talk about this specific Narrow in the past, and if you haven't caught that video, I'll leave a link for it up in the corner. Out of the newest line, this one is definitely my favorite. Ultra thin, very lightweight, but still made out of really strong materials on here. The action on these things is just phenomenal. Super fidgety, really nice slim blade on there, and I carried this thing for a while. That was until, I think it was early May, I visited Benchmade at their booth at the Flagstaff Overland Expo, and that's where I got a sneak peek at this guy right here, a mini version of the Narrows. Now, if I didn't already like the Narrows enough, a smaller version of it fits in your pocket even better. It's lightweight, even more lightweight than the full-size counterpart, and this thing was actually in my pocket for a while. I haven't brought you guys a knife update because I wasn't allowed to talk about it yet, but it's out there, it's available now. A very premium knife. The action on this thing, just like the larger counterpart, is absolutely amazing. Love this thing. I think this is one of my favorite knives that Benchmade has released in the past couple of years. Now, just like the Bailout, we have a new version of the Bugout here. There are so many different variants of this knife out here, but like I said with the Bailout, having aluminum handles on here makes this thing feel way more premium. And in this case, it's actually even a little bit thicker. So this is a new limited edition Bugout, the 535BK-07. It of course has the axis lock and a drop point blade. It has a really nice finish on the handles. There's even some extra milling up near the finger choil where you're making the most positive grip with the knife. A blue thumb stud on there, blue back spacers, and this one is really rounding out the collection because you can't have a knife collection without having a Bugout. This one in particular is a little bit flashy for my taste, but again, we have to have this thing well-rounded. Now for another one of my personal choices, there's a lot of new stuff here. This one isn't particularly super new, but this is an absolute beast of a knife. The Benchmade Adamas. When I flick this thing open and have it in my hand, it feels like a knife that is absolutely ready to go to combat. I actually have a few different versions of this knife in my personal collection, both the full size and the minis, and the full size just has such a good feeling to it. This is a CPM Crewwear blade on there with a little blood trough down the middle, G10 handles, axis lock, a relatively deep carry pocket clip, and a skeletonized frame on there. If you've never put one of these knives in your hand before, I would highly recommend it. It may be a little bit too big for a lot of people to EDC, but when you have this knife with you and you're out camping in the mountains, in the wilderness, this is a really good feeling having a blade like this with you. So that's the first 9 knives in the top of the case, but we have 9 more to go. So let's speed things up a little bit, diving into the first drawer where I have some of the longer blades. First up, over on the right-hand side here, this is one that I've had for quite a long time, and this one here is brand new, included in the giveaway. This is the Benchmade Freek with an M4 blade on there. Again, one of the larger knives in this entire collection, so that's why I have it positioned on the first drawer. This portion of the case is really going to be good for fixed blades and your larger knives like this guy right here. So this is a marble G10 black and gray. There are also red accents as the back spacers and a little bit on the frame inside of there. So basically red G10 all the way through, black and gray G10 on the outside. And this is also a workhorse of a knife, maybe not quite as extreme and robust as the Adamas, but definitely a good one to have in a collection. Now for any ladies out there, this one might strike something with you. Right here we have a purple version of the Shootout. This is also a limited edition of the Shootout. It's the Benchmade 5370GY-06. The handle scales on here are of course purple and purple accents all over it, including the auto firing mechanism, the rear pommel, which is going to be good for adding some kind of lanyard, and then also the pocket clip. I'm not a huge purple guy, but this one would probably be good for your wife or fiance. If you happen to win this entire collection and this case, I would recommend passing this on to one of your loved ones. Next up, we have something a little bit classier right here. This one is known as the Autofact. You probably have seen this on my channel before, and this in my opinion is kind of like a gentleman's folder. This is an automatic knife with a lock on the spine. The handle materials here are carbon fiber mixed with aluminum, and a really long slender S90V blade on there. This one is a little bit too classy for me and my uses, so the one in my collection has not seen a ton of pocket time, but at the end of the day, you need some kind of knife to dress up a little bit. And then just like the Adamas, if we're talking about a blade that is going to be good in self-defense, tactical situations, this guy right here was absolutely designed for it. I've done a full video on this blade before too, and this is the Benchmade SOCP Folder designed by Greg Thompson. There are so many cool design features with this knife, like the handles and how they have little recessed buttons in there, which basically allows you to change the position of the blade in your hand. It has a really interesting pocket clip, which makes it very easy to access quickly. It has flat thumb studs on there, and this is probably the longest knife, except maybe compared to the next one. Let's pull this one out quick. So the next knife in this giveaway is a super cool one. This was also added to this as my recommendation, and yeah, they're about the exact same size. So the SOCP folder is in there, included in the giveaway, and then we have the Benchmade 99, the Necron. Now I have not brought you guys a full dedicated video on this blade, but it is one of the newer, I guess, reissued versions of a balisong. And I'm not much of a flipper, but I absolutely love balisongs, especially when they kind of throw back to the roots. Speaking of that, check out the box that this thing comes in. Kind of old school retro Benchmade vibes on there. They have extra handle weights inside of here, a sheath to carry this thing around, as well as handle extensions and tools to really work on this thing. So if you are a flipper and you like some kind of classic balisongs, you really can't go wrong with this guy right here. I'm probably gonna cut my finger off at some point, so let's put that one back. You gotta have a balisong if it's a Benchmade giveaway. Now for the bottom drawer, we got a couple more down here. Starting with another one that might be good for your significant other. We already have the Bugout. How about a mini Bugout? This is another limited edition colorway, the 533GY-09, all purple to match the Shootout, purple backspacers, purple thumb stud, purple pocket clip. The mini Bugout is definitely the smallest knife in this collection, and you gotta have some larger ones and you gotta have some smaller ones at the same time. Now the next one is for you guys who live around water. Right here we have a very new knife, and this I've actually covered slightly in a video on my channel in the past. This is the mini Adira. It's gonna be good for fishermen, boaters, anyone who is living life on the water. So this thing of course has an axis lock, a really cool drop point blade, and this is made out of a CPM Magna Cut. Benchmade is using a bunch of different materials on this blade to make it really fit that saltwater kind of life. So if you are a fisherman out on a boat all the time, there's a lot of cool features on here which will keep it from corroding and rusting. This blade feels really good in the hand, and this is only the mini version of it. You have an orange lanyard with a bead on there so you can pull it out of your pocket quicker. The larger version of this knife also feels really good in the hand, but for a mini blade, this thing feels absolutely incredible. So that's for anyone who lives by the shore or for anyone who's constantly in water. Now we gotta have more than just one auto, so you guys saw the Shootout of course, but right here is the mini Claymore. I have talked about this one in a video, and it's the smaller out the front version of the classic auto flipper of the Claymore. This is a CPM D2 blade on here, which is kind of daggered. So sharpened on both sides, really easy to access the blade both in and out. Super fidgety, super lightweight because this is made out of some kind of grivery material. A really clean, simple auto. If you are into autos, you gotta have one in your collection. And now last but not least, this knife right here is the one from my own personal collection, but you guys are going to be getting a brand new version of this. Benchmade is bringing back the Griptilian to their customizer. So this is a Mel Purdue design blade. This one is 154 cm, and I received this as a Christmas gift a long time ago. At the time, this was my nicest, most expensive blade in my collection, and at the time I was also afraid to kind of scrape it up. Now, as you guys can see, there's tape gunk and scratches all over it. This thing has been sharpened quite a few times. Scratches all over the pocket clip, but this to me is what Benchmade is all about. Really nice grip on there, thumb ramp for really positive traction. The axis lock on this is super broken in because I've had it for such a long time, and this is just like the original workhorse of a Benchmade knife, at least in my eyes. There are a ton of really great knives that Benchmade offers, and I wanted to include this one in this collection giveaway because this one holds kind of a soft spot in my heart. So those are all of the blades that we're going to be giving away with this Holme Hadfield case right here, the Armada. Now hopefully you guys were paying attention because we're going to talk about how to enter this giveaway. This is actually fairly simple, just a few rules. So first thing, be subscribed to my channel, leave a like on this video, and now go down to the comments section and tell me what your favorite knife of the new Benchmade line is and why. Is it the Narrows or Mini Narrows? Is it the new PSK? Maybe you like the Mini Crooked River. Let me know what your favorite knife that you saw here was and why is that one your favorite. And then the final thing, go down to the top link in the description of this video and fill out a short survey. That way we know how to contact you if you are chosen as the winner. I'm going to be posting some updates on all of this stuff over on my Instagram this week, so be sure to check out both myself, Benchmade, and Holme Hadfield over there on Instagram. And good luck. This giveaway is valued at over $6,500 with 18 blades in this case all included. It's really a cool way for me to give back to the community, and I'm kind of hoping this goes to someone with a really small collection because we can double your collection and give you a really nice case to display everything so you can be proud of it all. So huge thank you to Benchmade, huge thank you to Holme Hadfield for putting this all together and collaborating with me on this. Wishing you guys the best of luck. We will announce the winner here shortly, and I can already tell you I'm going to be pretty jealous of whoever wins this thing. So that's all that I had for today. If you guys have any more questions on anything that you saw here, let me know in the comments down below. I will try to answer anything as best as possible. If you're new here, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every single week. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one. 38 Benchmade knives. That was the total that I fit in here, and I ran out of Benchmade knives. That's all I got, and there's still room for more in this thing. Crazy.